chubby man looked fierce, but in front of his wife he was completely soft. Not only was he afraid of her, but he was also a doting father. One day, his daughter tried pouring him a drink, but accidentally broke the bottle, spilling it all over him. Seeing her teary-eyed face, he lifted her high in the air with a smile, an incredibly heartwarming scene. Just as he was about to enjoy the meal his daughter made, the butler came with urgent news. The wife understood and said as long as he came back before the food got cold, it was fine. At the scene, chaos was everywhere. A pair of all parents were dead. The butler said the attackers only wanted a face-to-face with the master, though furious. The chubby man still met with them. The blonde thug said it was payback. The master had disrupted their drug business. The blonde explained he was just delivering a message from his boss. You broke our business. Now we'll ruin something precious to you. At first, the master brushed it off, but hearing their only goal was to lure him away made him uneasy. When he rushed home, it was too late. The food was stained with blood. His wife lay breathless on the floor, and his daughter was gone. He and the butler captured the drug boss. Before dying, the boss warned him, the more precious something is, the less you should make it look so, or others will come for it. With that, he died, and the butler finished off the remaining enemies. A year later, the master finally appeared in public again. People whispered about him, which made him pleased. He had the butler spread nasty rumors so people would stay away. Just then, a young orc girl accidentally dropped a wine bottle. The butler moved to help her, but the master stopped him. As red wine soaked his clothes, he saw his daughter's shadow in the girl. He told the butler to keep her away. After learning she was an orphan, he told her she had to pay for the mess or become a slave. The girl didn't understand, but the two men looked so intimidating she didn't dare protest, and so she was brought to the mansion. First, they cleaned her up, not just for hygiene, but also to prepare her. Then, they dressed her in beautiful clothes. The girl was surprised. It was her first time wearing anything so nice, but the master said not to get the wrong idea. Ragged clothes were just bad for the mansion's image. He presented a slave contract. The girl pressed her handprint without reading it. The master burst into laughter. His plan had worked. With the deal sealed, he explained her miserable future. She'd do chores 4 days a week, have fewer than half the days off, and only 30 vacation days a year, even if she got sick. Monthly days off would be less than 3. After making her accept reality, he took her to eat. She'd need energy for work. She stayed hungrily at the feast, hoping for leftovers, but the master served a full plate of dog food instead. Though disappointed, she picked it up to eat. He scolded her for stealing from the dog. The butler picked her up and set her at the table instead. They couldn't afford for her to faint from malnutrition. As she ate, memories of living with her parents flashed back. No fancy meals, but at least nutritious. Now she only had sprouted potatoes and grapes for parents. Her once bright eyes had lost their shine, maybe from missing them or feeling moved. Tears started falling. On her first day of work, she broke a vase. As she tried fixing it, the master kicked it away and scolded her. She wasn't even assigned to this area. The girl replied she couldn't read. The master laughed. He knew she wasn't smart, but this was worse than expected. She had to be punished. Illiterate slaves didn't deserve to clean. They had to suffer daily. So she was sent to school. Yes, school. A prison-like place where she'd wear a uniform and be stuck in a classroom all day. The girl was shocked but pretended to be scared. Soon, Christmas arrived. She picked up a stocking to return to her room, but the master stopped her. He scolded her, saying crybabies like her didn't get gifts and should just sleep. But that night, he sneaked into her room. Smirking, he took the stocking and replaced it with a handmade teddy bear, hands covered in bandages. He'd found out her wish to get that bear from the toy store and made it himself cheaply. He figured she'd be disappointed once she found out. That thought alone made him feel great. The maid just watched silently. Years passed, and the girl reached her rebellious teenage phase. One day she got sick. The master used the chance to barge in. She couldn't move, meaning she couldn't resist. He threw a wet towel on her face and said she should rest or he'd lose money if the illness spread. The girl was disgusted by how badly he hated his concern. Once she slept, he was about to make her awful rice porridge, but found a love letter instead. Later, the girl went on a date. Her boyfriend was a gentleman and offered to walk her home, but just as she declined, the master's voice rang out behind them. He scolded her for dating. The boyfriend asked why they looked different. The master explained her mother was an orc and asked if the boy was judging her for being mixed. The boy denied it. The girl was confused. Why say that? The master replied he just wanted to use her to get close to a noble family. She smiled faintly, saying, "Let's pretend that's the reason." Time passed. She was an adult now, looking at how she'd grown. The master got emotional. That night, he called her to his room. She nervously opened the door. He laughed loudly and tossed her a bag of money, her retirement fund. Their contract had ended, and she was free to go. When she didn't leave, he cruelly drove her out. Tearfully, she left the home full of memories. At the door, the butler expressed regret. The master was heartless, but only because he wanted her to experience the pain of marriage. He feared that if anyone found out she was once a slave, she couldn't marry the noble son. Stunned, the girl ran back, splashed wine on him, and said she had already told her boyfriend everything. Being an orphan, a slave, he didn't care. "Why worry so much?" The master said their contract was over. "Why come back?" She replied. "Your clothes are wet again. Let's sign a new one." Years later, the now married couple were too busy, so they left their kid with the master. He grinned wickedly, pulled out a bunch of lollipops, and said he was going to eat all her teeth.